Charlie Plumb is lucky to be alive today. But if you asked him,
I always knew I was going to survive.
Luck had nothing to do with surviving an unpopular war.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the fighter pilot mentality. You always have this positive attitude that you're going to be able to make it.
But to even begin to understand the horrors he went through.
I was frightened, of course.
Starts in a dark place. Very few of us could ever imagine. On his 75th mission as an F-4 Phantom combat fighter pilot in Vietnam.
It was 5 days before I was to go home.
But instead, Navy Captain Charlie Plumb's jet was struck by enemy fire.
I lost my hydraulic pressure. My engines were failing. It was on fire. I knew I had to get out.
Captain Plumb ejected and glided down on his parachute to safety. But he would end up in an 8-foot by 8-foot space where he was forced to live for almost 6 years, tortured as a prisoner of war.
I had nothing. And in several of the prison camps, it was very dark. And when you have nothing and you're alone and it's dark, you need a baseline. You need to validate your sanity.
That baseline was his faith, but he also learned perhaps the toughest lesson of all, to forgive.
All of this hate and vitriol within me wasn't hurting the enemy at all. It was hurting me. And I was going to die from this if I didn't forgive.
Who is it that looks to you for strength in time of need?
Now, years after his release from captivity, a popular Captain Charlie Plumb motivates crowds, using that cramped 8 by 8 foot marked spot to make a point about what holds us back.
The restriction was not really the 8 feet between the walls. It was 8 inches between my ears.
Turning your attitude into gratitude to overcome challenges by following the advice of someone who's already been there.
I think that I'm living proof that you can go through a pretty traumatic experience and come out a happy, smiling, upbeat, positive person if you make the right choices. Regardless of your situation, regardless of the challenge that you face, you always have a choice.